right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. On today's video, we're going to be making a vegetarian stir fry and a watermelon salad with the things that I got in the CSA box this week. This box was really great. It came with cucumbers and this watermelon that I've already used half of, some bok choy, and then some other lettuces, and these really, really beautiful string beans that we're going to use in the stir fry today. So we're gonna serve the stir fry over quinoa today, and I'm gonna show you guys how I make my quinoa. You could totally do this with brown rice or another whole grain of your choosing, but I thought I'd show you guys how I make mine. So first thing I do is rinse the quinoa really, really well, and I've just been letting it strain the extra water over this container. I do either a half a cup or a full cup, but I'm doing a half a cup today. And so for every half a cup of quinoa, you do 1 cup of water. I have this this little pot just kind of preheating. I think I read like a few years ago or something that toasting the quinoa helps give it a little bit of flavor. And I've always just made it this way. So before I add the water to the quinoa, I'm just gonna go ahead and add the pan, and I'm just gonna toast it for a little bit. I honestly don't know if it makes that much of a difference, but this is kind of just how I've always made it. So yeah, just set for a few minutes, and it also helps kind of just remove the excess water from the outside of the quinoa. But I'm just gonna stir it around to make sure that it doesn't burn in here. And then for every half a cup, it's 1 cup of water. You can go ahead and use any kind of vegetable broth or any other liquid that you would like instead. Sometimes I do it with a little bit of coconut milk and water if I'm doing more of like an Asian curry themed dinner. But I'm just gonna use water today. That is what I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this water. Now I'm just gonna cover this with a lid and bring it to a boil. And then once it comes to a boil, I'm gonna actually remove the lid, and then we're gonna keep the quinoa at kind of a rolling boil, but I don't want it to be super, super hot. And then from there, it only takes like 10 minutes and all the water will evaporate. And then we're actually gonna add some chia seeds to it, which I know sounds kind of weird, but my roommate got me hooked on it, and I think it adds just like a really nice crunch. It also helps soak up the leftover water that may be in the quinoa, so you're not left with a soggy quinoa. It's just really good and fluffy and a little crunchy. Okay, so let's get started on the stir fry. So I'm just doing a vegetarian stir fry today with the vegetables that I got in the bag, with a couple other things that I just had in the fridge. So we are gonna prep the ingredients for that. These are the cute little onions that came in the CSA bag. So I'm just gonna slice this. I got this new knife because I figured I was in the market for a new one. I got it from Ross. It's great. It was like 10 bucks. So I'm gonna slice this onion. And to do that, I'm going to stand it up with the bulb on the bottom, and then I'm gonna just slice it in half lengthwise. I have this, the bottom is still attached here, and then I'm just gonna cut off each end. And then from that point, it's super easy to just peel off this first layer of skin. And then, so the quinoa is at a boil now, so I'm gonna actually just remove this lid and then turn down the heat just a little bit, and then periodically just give it a stir just to make sure the bottom's not sticky. But from this point, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes, not long at all. Okay, so for the onion, now that I have both sides removed, I'm just gonna start at the right side and making sure my fingers are tucked underneath so I don't accidentally chop them off. I am just going to start making slices, and this is kind of the shape that I want for this stir fry, and we're gonna give all the vegetables kind of larger cuts just because I think it's nice to have big chunks of vegetables in a stir fry versus smaller dices. So I have my onion here like this, and these are kind of the size that I want. Nice long strings. So we have the onion. We're also gonna use these string beans that I got. And we're just gonna give these a rough chop too. I'm gonna maybe cut this 2 times, so in thirds. Put these into the bowl. And we're also gonna use a carrot that I just had laying around in the fridge. And once again, I'm just gonna give these big rough chops. I'm gonna actually cut this on a bias. It'll give it a nice, it'll give it a nice shape. It's kind of pretty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this too. And then this is the bok choy that came in the bag. It came with 3 really big, nice bundles. I'm gonna use all of these because these are probably gonna wilt down a lot. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the end off here and then cut it 1 more time. Now, the CSA bags have been super convenient and everything has been so fresh and tasty. If you don't have a bunch of vegetables or you would rather not use fresh vegetables, you can always use frozen. Now, my roommates and I always split this big bag from Costco, and this one's great. It has like broccoli and peppers and carrots and mushrooms, and this big bag is only like $10, and it lasts such a long time. So you could definitely use frozen if that's what you prefer, or just have on hand. I'm just gonna cut up the rest of this bok choy. All right, and then I have a tomato too, so I'm gonna use that. I'm just gonna give it, I'm gonna do like big cubes on these. Having a sharp knife is so nice. I know it's like really easy to go in and like get them sharpened or sharpen them yourselves, but I've just like accumulated more knives, and then now they're all pretty much dull, so I was like, might as well just get one more new one. But it makes such a difference. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna do big cubes for the tomatoes. All right, and then I'm also gonna preheat my pan really quick. My roommate got this really nice wok from his grandma, so this is a really nice new addition to the kitchen gadgets. So I'm gonna preheat this over like a medium high heat, and we'll let that heat up for a couple minutes. Okay, so while the pan preheats, I am gonna show you how I make just a really simple stir fry sauce. Here. So I'm using shoyu. Like I've said in other videos, if you want to use a lower sodium version or just a little bit healthier version, tamari or Bragg's liquid aminos is a really good substitution for that. I'm just going to use a little bit of shoyu here though. Maybe about like a 1/4 cup. And next ingredient is coconut sugar. I think like just the most basic teriyaki sauce you can make is soy sauce and sugar. But I love using coconut sugar. I love the taste of it because it's almost like brown sugar. It kind of has like that molassesy taste. But coconut sugar is a lot better for you than regular cane sugar or brown sugar. It has a lower glycemic index, so it just doesn't raise your blood sugar super fast. It's a little bit better for you. So we're just gonna do just a little sprinkle. And it was maybe like a couple tablespoons. I'm gonna check on this quinoa again. Just give it a you can see it's already been like 5 minutes, and we're already starting to see that it's almost cooked. It was super fast. Okay, and then next into the stir fry sauce, we're gonna use ground ginger. Hey, buddy. little bit of that. I actually want to add a couple fresh garlic cloves. I'm going to do 2 garlic cloves. Just give it a nice smash. Remove the skin. And I'm just gonna give this a rough chop into the sauce as well. You could go ahead and add fresh ginger too. I don't have any right now. I actually made these, I've been getting fresh ginger and turmeric from the farmer's market, and I've been making these like lemon ginger shots with turmeric too. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of this just because there is fresh ginger in here, but I love the taste of ginger, so I feel like it's not gonna be too much adding a little bit of fresh and some powder. But definitely want the garlic to be fresh, my favorite. And I think we're good on the sauce. So that is pretty much it. So we're gonna saute all the vegetables and then add the sauce over. Oh, one more thing, sorry, I forgot. We're gonna do a little bit of cornstarch too. So this is just gonna help thicken the sauce. I know I've used this in like pretty much every single video that we've done. So I'm just gonna do the same thing that I always do, just add a little bit of cornstarch to this ramekin, and then add a little bit of water to that, so the cornstarch does not get all clumpy when I add it to the sauce. So we're gonna do about like a 1.5 tablespoons here, and a little bit of water. And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix this up. Just like that. Check on the quinoa one more time. Okay, so at this point the quinoa is almost done. It's still a little bit wet, but you can see that it is already getting pretty fluffy. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in about 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. Now this is completely optional, but I honestly think everyone should try it. I was really hesitant to when I first did, but it really makes it nice and crunchy and just nice and fluffy. It's really good. Okay, so I'm gonna now take this off the heat and I'm just gonna let it rest. So my pan's been preheating now. Definitely wanna make sure that your pan is hot before you start to add your oil and vegetables, just so you get a nice even cook on them. Sesame oil in the bottom. And just wait a second for that to heat up. So now that the cornstarch and the water is combined, I'm gonna also add that into our sauce. And that's our simple stir fry sauce. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna add is the onions. I just kind of wanna cook the onions first. Pound a little bit, get the flavors going. You can feel free to use a water saute for these vegetables too, or an oil spray if you have. I barely use any oil. This wok is super, super nonstick. I basically just am using a little sesame oil for flavor here. Woks are so much fun. I never grew up having one, so this is like quite a treat. So here's the onions in here. I'm gonna cook these just for about another minute. I just kind of want them to be nice and translucent, start to get a little bit of color. And then after these are done, I'm gonna go ahead and add the vegetables in order to take the longest to cook. So if you're using things like potatoes, carrots, turnips, things like that, radishes, go ahead and add those in first because they're gonna take just a little bit longer to cook. And then start to add your tomatoes, and then at the very end, add your greens. So if you're using bok choy or spinach or other kind of lettuces, definitely add those in towards the end. So the onion's getting a little nice and brown now. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the carrots. Just gonna throw those right into there. And we're gonna let these go for a few minutes. I'm gonna clean up some of this stuff out of the way. Started on the salad I'm gonna make. Okay, so the other thing I'm making with the CSA bag today is a watermelon salad. I actually don't really eat watermelon in salads that often, but when I saw the lettuce and the watermelon, the cucumber, and the onion in the bag, I was like, that's gonna be so good. So we're gonna do a super, super simple salad. And I was gonna make a balsamic dressing for the whole thing, but I have this balsamic glaze, which is basically just balsamic vinegar that's been cooked down. So it's kind of sweet too. And this is just gonna be a nice little drizzle on top. And this is one of my favorite condiments ever. I'm obsessed with balsamic glaze. So first to start, I guess I'll give this another stir here. And these are the lettuces I got in the bag. The past couple weeks they've been from a farm in Quinoa, and they are so good. They're so fresh. So I'm gonna use all three of these. They're not super big. I'm just gonna pull the end off and give it a nice little rip into the bowl here. Okay, also the carrots have been going for a second now. I'm gonna go ahead and add the string beans and cook these guys for a little bit longer before I add the bok choy. Once again, just because the string beans are gonna take a little bit longer to add. Give these a nice little stir again. We're gonna let that go. And then we're starting the salad in this bowl. So I have all the lettuces here. Just gonna give it a nice rough chop, my hands. And I already washed these and dried them off for a while. Always make sure to give your vegetables a good rinse. Okay, so lettuce in a bowl here. I'm gonna grab another cutting board. And so I'm gonna do the other half of this little onion here, and I'm gonna do slices again and give this a nice slice. I'm gonna get these a little bit thinner than I did with the stir fry, just because I don't want big chunks of onion in the salad. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle these on top. Now, if you don't have lettuce, this salad is really, really good. Just honestly, watermelon balsamic, but I'm also gonna add a little bit of cucumber and avocado. And I think all those things together are really, really tasty. So just a nice sprinkle of onion on top. Gonna give this stir fry another mix. So onion and then my cucumber here. Now I'm gonna go ahead, actually I'm gonna peel this just a little bit because the skin is pretty tough. I kind of do like the texture, a little bit of the skin, but I'm just gonna take like maybe half of the skin off, just so it's not super, super tough. Also, I think it makes the cucumber look pretty when it's kind of alternating skin and no skin like that. Yeah, so I'm also gonna cut this just on an angle. Here's our cucumber slices. Gonna add those right on top too. And then next is gonna be the avocado. I do half an avocado. I'm just gonna score it down the middle and then across to make little cubes. And then I'm just gonna take a spoon and put that right on top of the salad. Kind of spread that around. Stir fry looks like these carrots and string beans are cooking a little bit more. Got some nice browning on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the carrot, or not the carrot, sorry, the bok choy and the tomatoes now. And that'll be the last part of the stir fry before we add the sauce in. And I'm just gonna let these guys cook down just for a couple minutes. Give this a little stir. Okay. Look at how pretty. All right, so I'm gonna let that go. And then the last part of the salad is gonna be the watermelon. This is why summertime is my favorite, because all of my favorite fruits start going into season. I just got cherries for the first time since last year, a few days ago, and I don't realize how much I love cherries until I have them for the first time every single year again, and I'm like, wow, I miss this so much. Mangoes are almost here. It's gonna be good summer. Okay, so I'm just gonna go around the edge of the watermelon here. And try to get the end piece here. Stir up this guy a little bit more. I feel like the carrots were a little dry in there and having a little bit of trouble cooking, but once I added the tomato and the bok choy, a little bit of that water I think is kind of helping steam the carrot too and helping it cook a little better. And that bok choy is cooking down really nicely. Okay, let's finish this salad. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut up my watermelon here. Give it some nice cubes. Kind of like that this salad, everything is like a big chunk. So you get like a good bite of whatever you're eating every single time, and it's so pretty. Okay. So I'm just gonna put the watermelon right on top of there now. Okay, and then just a little bit more onion for color. Beautiful, lovely. Okay, so there's our watermelon salad. So the stir fry is looking pretty good here. Let's see. Okay, I think it's about time to add the sauce. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one more stir to make sure everything's well mixed before I add it. Really, really nice ginger slumber. So I'm gonna just pour this right on top. I think at the bottom gets there. All right. Heat up just a little bit, it's getting kind of low. And mix it all together. And this is gonna take a couple minutes. That cornstarch is gonna start to thicken up. The coconut sugar is gonna start to caramelize a little bit. This would be really, really great with some fried tofu. Tempeh would be really good too. Even if you have beans, I used my last can of garbanzo beans yesterday, but beans would be another great source of protein to throw in here as well. You can start to see already, it smells so good, but this stir fry sauce is really, really, really starting to come together. Super nice. This is like the best way to use up whatever leftover veggies are starting to go bad in the fridge or whatever you have laying around. This is so good. All right, and that is about done. All looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the heat off now and we'll start to plate. I'll show you what that quinoa looks like now. Chia seeds into a liquid, it absorbs that liquid. So you're left with this quinoa that is so fluffy and the quinoa is a little bit crunchy. It's so good. I highly recommend trying this. Okay, so that's gonna be the base instead of using rice or another grain. Okay. Super nice. And then I'm gonna go ahead and have some of this lovely stir fry. Bok choy is a great option for vegetarians or vegans, just people that don't eat dairy, because it has tons of calcium in it. Same with tofu, it's a great option. Okay, some nice chunks of carrots in there. Some tomato. Oh, love that ginger. I wish I had fresh ginger because I love just like big bites of ginger, just straight chunks. So good. Okay, so there's my stir fry. Quinoa on the side with the chia seeds. Now I'm gonna go ahead. I don't have cilantro. I love to add like green onion and cilantro on top of my stir fries, but I don't have any of that today. I do, however, have some of these unsalted toasted almond slivers from Trader Joe's. I love having a little crunch on, honestly, anything that I'm eating. So I'm just gonna put some of these toasted almonds right on top. And then some sesame seeds. So pretty. So there's my stir fry. And then last part for the salad, the best part. Actually, I'm gonna give it just a little seasoning. I'm gonna do a little salt, a little pepper before, just because I'm not doing an actual dressing. But this balsamic glaze, it does kind of seep down into the rest of the lettuce. You can go ahead and use a low-fat balsamic dressing and give it a good toss, but there's something about this balsamic glaze on top that is just like so sweet and so satisfying. Okay, ready for this? So good. Yum. Well, that's it. Thanks to the CSA bag, have these two lovely meals here. Nice and balanced, super tasty, and really fast. That was what, only 30 minutes? So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you make it.